Hello, everybody, and welcome to this weekly edition of ARMBAR, your Valley's only wrestling talk show here on 97.7 FM The City. My name is Mike Balsadua, Mike the Business, and here we have
Tony the Machine Matuk.
And
my co-hosts know me as Jay Ochoa, but they have rechristened me as Jay the WrestlePedia Ochoa.
Jay the WrestlePedia. Yeah. Welcome, Jay. As you guys know, we usually have Isaac on the show every week with us, but this week he couldn't make it out. He's got plenty of schoolwork to do, and he was making dinner the last time I checked, so hopefully that dinner came out good, Isaac. And we just want to give you a shout-out, man. Hopefully school's going good for you, work and everything like that, and hope to have you on next week.
Yes! 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 Yes!
All right, so the big news this week, guys, is that Daniel Bryan, a.k.a. Bryan Danielson, age 34, has actually retired from wrestling, which is really, really big news for anyone that's a wrestling fan out there. Your thoughts on that, guys? Tony?
You know, it's...
Oh.
Well, the thing is, you know, we had it coming on top of that. And okay, can you hear me now? Sorry, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty.
Okay. What's up?
Hold on, I got you. Don't worry.
Okay. Is mine working?
It's going to be like that, just like that.
Oh, okay. Hear me now?
Okay.
That's the other one.
Oh, other one?
Yeah, with the letters out.
Yeah, that's what I had it. All right.
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Okay, my reaction to this, you know, he had it coming. I mean, too many concussions. I thought that WWE they don't want to take any liabilities. And yes, it's sad to me that, you know, he's leaving. He's leaving in good standings with the company. You know, he wants to start a family. He's been wrestling since he was 18. The man...
16 years.
Yeah, the man jumped out of gasoline areas. He would wrestle near gasoline stations. The man wrestled everywhere. He went to the Texas Shawn Michaels Academy up in San Antonio. The man's done it all. And, yeah, it is devastating for me to say goodbye to a great wrestler. To me, he's a pioneer in my book. And one of my favorite matches... I love the Team Hell No storyline. That's one of my favorites. But we'll get to the later matches. What do you think, WrestlePedia?
Daniel Bryan, I mean, I followed his career going back when he was Bryan Danielson in Ring of Honor. And I was thrilled when he came to the WWE by way of NXT in 2010. And when he returned later that year at SummerSlam. And just, to me, it was a sad day to see Daniel Bryan leave. I mean, I understood, you know, medical reasons. You know, he's had, as you mentioned, Tony, and Michael, you know, the concussions, and also let's not discount the fact that he also had neck surgery in the spring of 2014. So it saddened me, but at the same time, at least he's leaving on good health, as opposed to, you know, being a tragic story in wrestling where he's one day not able to, you know, leave on his own accord. Kind of like if you've seen The Wrestler, where he did that final leap with the Ram Jam. The last thing we wanted was to see Daniel Bryan do one of those patented top rope diving headbutts and not be able to get up. And, you know, it's, for me personally, it's terrible for me that I missed the last time he was here at the State Farm Arena back in 2013. But a couple of my buddies, shout out alert here, El Vitor and John the Rocker. If you guys are listening, you guys were lucky to be part of seeing Daniel Bryan at the State Farm Arena in Hidalgo back in 2013 and being part of what I heard was a real crazy yes chant. I wish I could have been there, but to me, the yes chant and the yes movement in general will live on because of Daniel Bryan, and his presence will be missed on WWE TV and in wrestling in general.
All right, guys, so just a little bit of thoughts on Daniel Bryan and where his career went, and we're going to get more into that later on in our second segment of the show. But right now, let's go ahead and get into the Raw recap, guys. Let's start with Stephanie McMahon and the beginning of the show, basically. There was a contract signing, guys. You want to tell us a little more about that, Tony? Contract signing. It was for the Fastlane, and it was for the WWE World Heavyweight title. We had Dean Ambrose come out, Roman Reigns, and of course Brock Lesnar with Mr. Paul Heyman.
I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, I keep thinking about Daniel Bryan. I love Daniel Bryan. Well, I'm sorry, Dean Ambrose. My goodness. I mean, this man, he's not afraid of anybody. This guy, you know, kept coming to Brock Lesnar. He kept saying, you know what? I don't care if you dump me on my head. I don't care if you suplex me, F5 me, give me the F10, whatever it takes. I'm going to get back up. And it was, I think he got an F5, didn't he, in the first?
He did get an F5,
F5.
but Dean Ambrose kept coming. He just kept egging Brock Lesnar on, like, come on, is that the best you got?
It's insane because, you got brothers versus the War Man, the War Machine, the
Beast.
The Beast incarnate. This guy is a fighting machine. This guy
legit dangerous.
Yeah, he's legit dangerous. He could eat these guys for breakfast. But if you think about like Roman Reigns, I feel like something might happen with these guys for breakfast. I feel like, oh God, you guys are terrible. Okay.
He was the one filming.
I know, man. Okay, sorry about this, guys. Mike is trying to film us on Instagram. I don't know, or Snapchat. I don't know what he's trying to do, but he's being
MySpace.
That's a good idea, actually.
MySpace. Does anybody even use MySpace anymore?
I haven't used it since New Year's Eve of 2010.
Oh gosh,
That's been a while.
Going back to the contract signing, man, we're going off topic already. Anyway, oh man, Isaac's probably like, man, these guys are a bunch of stooges. Anyway, going back to the contract signing. I don't know, but I feel like Roman Reigns, I don't know, I have a feeling that he might turn heel. I don't know. He might get a little jealous or something. I feel like something's triggering. Because, he feels like he needs another rematch for the championship.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, Dean Ambrose keeps getting closer and closer and closer, just like Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And yes, Roman Reigns has already had the title twice. And, yes, it wasn't fair that Roman Reigns lost it at the Royal Rumble. But you knew that it was coming eventually.
It's what was best for business.
That's what was best for business, exactly. So I'm thinking.
The current champion.
Haven't heard that phrase in a while, huh?
Yes. I think ever since with Kane and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
I think Seth Rollins was just saying like a broken record. But even though I think it is Dean Ambrose's time, he's going to be the dual champion. I mean, we haven't seen one of those when, the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan back in WrestleMania 6 when he won dual championships. Maybe we're going to see that again. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting fast lane. I'd like to see Dean Ambrose versus Triple H. I think it'd be very enlightening to see that. What do you think, WrestlePedia?
I mean, Roman Reigns is the guy that I like that name. Thank you guys. You guys were the ones that came up with it, and that's all the credit to you guys, But as far as Roman Reigns versus Triple H, it's been penciled in for quite some time, going all the way back to what happened at TLC when Reigns just beat up Triple H like nobody's business. It would be, something different if Ambrose was the main event because he's become more popular in some ways as opposed to Reigns because Ambrose came up through the indie scene just like Daniel Bryan. At the same time, though, Ambrose is just that crazy guy. He's not built like a rock. He's not the Vince McMahon type wrestler. Mm-hmm. But how many times have we seen guys that were not Vince McMahon type wrestlers become main event stars? People that come to mind like Mick Foley, like Jeff Hardy, Daniel Bryan. I wouldn't be surprised if Dean Ambrose is that next guy in line. I wouldn't be surprised if down the line the same goes with Samoa Joe, who's currently in NXT. But as far as Ambrose, the way he's being built, I mean, honestly, if there's one guy, if he doesn't get the title shot against Triple H, I could see Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. As far as a Reigns heel turn, that might probably, if it does happen, Tony and Michael, I wouldn't be surprised if it's after WrestleMania.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I would see brother versus brother.
Yeah.
All right, going on, guys. We have Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler. Okay,
that was a heck of a match.
And actually, what is this? 2 weeks in a row already that Ziggler gets one up on KO. So that's a big surprise, and that's going to be a match at Fastlane. But I'm hoping that it's going to be a match that has stipulations like a street fight or something fight.
A championship opportunity.
This match has to mean something. It should be like a number one contender for the IC Championship or US Championship.
I mean, they've been going at it for so long. I mean, it's eventually something's got to give. It can't just be a bunch of matches for the sake of just going back and forth. I mean, I'm hoping down the line it is for a championship opportunity or something to get one or the other ahead because Owens has had a great start since coming into WWE, and Ziggler has kind of been start, pause. But hopefully this could be the launch of something bigger for Ziggler, down the road in 2016, as opposed to some of the feuds that he had in 2015 that were just pretty much dead-end rivalries. Rusev and Tyler Breeze come to mind, of course.
I'm a huge Ziggler fan, and I really wish that they would continue to do more. I mean, I remember when a few years back when he was the lone survivor at Survivor Series. It was in, 2014, right?
Yeah, the night Sting debuted.
I mean, yeah, I was just wowed. And, of course, prior to that, I was still a fan. But that just made me, like, solidify that, this guy can do it in the ring, obviously, night in and night out. And he's proving to the world that he can still do it, obviously. But the fact that, and I agree with you, that just his 2015 card matches were just horrible. I think all the feuds that he had were just non-existent. I mean, they didn't really mean anything. Yeah. And I completely agree with you, Mr. WrestlePedia, that I mean, I definitely would like to see more from these two, and I agree with Tony that hopefully this leads up to a United States or Intercontinental title bout between those guys later on. And I mean, right now, I'm not even too sure what's going on with Kalisto. Is he going to get a rematch with ADR?
He is. He's going to face him at Fastlane for the U.S. Championship. Going back to Kevin Owens. Mm-hmm. I was listening to some documentaries of Kevin Owens when he was Kevin Steen, and it was Lance Storm. He was talking about him, and WWE were giving him some grief about his appearance, about Kevin Owens' appearance, because Kevin Owens, he's not a very big man. He's only maybe 5'11", but 5'11", 6 feet tall, mm-hmm. and for being 250, 260 pounds, they're very
he's
biased.
Agile.
He's very agile, but they're biased of his physical appearance because
he's got that little gut, right?
He has that gut. They call him the out of shape wrestler.
I don't think he's out of shape.
I don't think he's out of shape. He has great cardiovascular, but Lance Storm was talking about him with Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, McMahon wants him to lose weight. All the other guys in the backstage, they want him to drop some weight because he's been gaining weight since the ROH. He was a lot thinner when he was doing Japan. He dropped weight in Japan, but they noticed that he's putting on weight, and there are a lot of people that are about maybe a couple inches taller than him that weigh around the same weight. They have, six-pack abs. They're talking about six-pack abs, cosmetic appearances, and Kevin Owens, he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about his appearance. He cares about wrestling.
Yeah.
And they're talking about that's why he likes to wear a shirt to cover his physique. There's a lot of wrestlers that did that. Bret Hart didn't have the best physique in the world, and he wore a singlet. And even Jack Swagger, all those guys.
Yeah. Hugh Morris.
Nikita Koloff.
Yeah, Nikita Koloff. And some of them had good physiques. They were very humble, like Ryback. Now Ryback is wearing the Goldberg.
Yeah.
But WWE is actually starting to get on Kevin Owens' case now about his weight, and that he needs to drop weight. And they think that it would bring in more publicity, more ratings to the show, because they're having problems with him with the camera angle. They try to they show him the camera angle and they see a big gut. They try to put him in front of the camera, say, okay, he looks good in that camera, but he still needs to lose weight. They're thinking that, so they've been getting on his case about that. WWE's starting to get, I'm like, what about the other wrestlers? You got Samoa Joe, you got all these other guys. Why are they giving him grief on it?
Bull Dempsey.
Well, Bull Dempsey, who just recently got released. But Samoa Joe started to drop weight even before he got to NXT, so he looks a lot thinner now than what he was towards the tail end of his run in TNA, and even also during his last run in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I don't know why McMahon's making a big deal out of it, about Kevin Owens. I think he's a great wrestler. I don't really think he's a fat wrestler. I think he's solid. The man is solid. The man could do backflips and moonsaults and whatnot. I think he's a great wrestler. I like the fact that he stays with kayfabe.
Yeah.
And I hope he wins. I really do. I hope he beats Dolph Ziggler. I like Dolph Ziggler, but you know what? Kevin Owens, he knows how to be a heel. And I love his matches on ROH. I was watching a match with him versus Matt Hardy. I thought it was incredible. I don't know if you've seen that match.
Yeah, the after Kevin Owens was part of a group called Scum, which was pretty much like Ring of Honor's version of the Bullet Club or the Shield at that point in time, and Owens had left that organization after Steve Corino had brought in Matt Hardy. So that I remember in 2013, which was a big point in Owens getting a face turn in Ring of Honor up until he had left the company in the summer of 2014. But yeah, just Owens, he's a great talent, but yeah, that might also work against him because Jim Cornette was always on his case about his weight going back to his days in Ring of Honor as Kevin Steen. And there were matches where I would see where Owens was a lot bigger in Ring of Honor than he is now in WWE. But yeah, Vince is always going to be about appearance because he's also going to be worried about cardiovascular because the last thing he wants is a wrestler, gassing out or, within the first several minutes, breathing heavy.
He wants bodybuilders mostly because Vince has been raised on bodybuilding. He's been a bodybuilder for years, and same as Triple H.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, they just have that old school mentality.
Yeah, I mean, not every great talent's going to be a bodybuilder. I mean, look at Harley Race back in the day.
He was chubby.
Yeah. But was tough.
Ric Flair was kind of chubby too. He had some.
He never had a body, if you know what I mean.
He never had a body. He had a lot of loose skin, but he had.
He was like already in his 40s at the time,
and still the best wrestler of all time.
All right, guys, moving forward, we have some Divas action. Charlotte versus Alicia Fox. This happened. Charlotte won with the figure 8. What do you guys think about that? Divas Revolution with Ric Flair in Charlotte's corner.
Hear me say it again.
Woo! Woo! I think it's a squash match. I think it was just a filler match.
Man.
They're just using up to show up airtime, basically.
It's a joke, Yeah. I mean, you knew this was bound to happen. Like father, like daughter. I mean, what do you know?
I mean, I don't discredit Charlotte for finally falling into the gimmick of her father's shell, I guess. You know what I mean?
The dirtiest diva in the game.
Doing the
Might
dirtiest.
As well wear the robe already, for crying out loud.
I would love to see that, but I think Ava Marie already took that. But I mean, I think the fact that they're throwing her into matches that don't really mean anything, like Alicia Fox, and not to discredit Alicia Fox, I think she can still do it in the ring. I mean, I see her at all the live shows when she comes down here.
Yeah.
And she puts on a performance every time. She gets in it with the crowd, etc. So it's not like, she's not there as far as her ring presence goes. But, I mean, they're just really not doing anything with her. And she's just kind of like the current female jobber for everyone, basically.
Yeah, it's a shame, too, because she's very talented. She's a former Divas champion.
Yeah.
But then again, you think she's being given the raw deal. What about others like Natalya and Tamina who have been there since the late 2000s, heading into the early 2010s, and yet they're pretty much still getting pushed to the side. And these are second or third generation divas we're talking about.
Yeah,
Natalya hasn't been pushed that much either.
Yeah, it's a shame too. And yet she's always here at the live events and always puts on great matches.
She's a sweet lady.
Oh yeah.
Watch Total Divas, guys.
But,
only on E!
Even when she was a heel back in 2012, July 3rd.
Yeah.
She played a heel, but she was a sweetheart. She got to autograph my, some of my pictures and stuff like that. She was so nice to my wife. And some of the women that were actually babyface, they were real heels outside of the airport.
Which is understandable at the airport. I mean, I understand where they're coming from.
Or the railing of the arena too.
Yeah. I mean, some are just, wanting to just come in and out, when it comes to going to live events. They feel, it's not an autograph signing. We don't really have to be a certain way. But with Natalya, it's great that whether she's heel or face, she is always going to stand, she's always going to take the time to sign an autograph. I got to meet her twice, that July 2012 show you were talking about, Tony, and also at the August 2015 show last year, the day after Roddy Piper died.
Yeah, that was very sad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's, to this day, still, man, I can't believe he's gone.
I'm actually wearing a shirt, guys. I'm wearing a Hot Rod shirt.
I got my Seth Rollins shirt on over here, so.
And I got my Daniel Bryan shirt on.
All right.
It's a very wrestling-oriented show here, man. But I love it.
Oh, yeah. What's the next match, Michael?
Well, actually, it wasn't a match. It was actually a segment, and it was Miz TV time, guys. Now, Chris Jericho comes out and, of course, interrupts The Miz, right? And actually surprises The Miz and says, I'm taking over, and this is going to be a highlight reel episode. So I thought that was pretty funny, right? And it just turns into a big debacle of, words between Jericho and The Miz. Miz gets all upset. Miz talks about his moneymaker and how AJ cost him $10,000 and a major audition with Steven Spielberg. And then Jericho laughs it off, and it's just a bunch of camaraderie. And, of course, it just goes in back and forth until one strikes down the other. And of course, this leads up to the match that's gonna happen, which happened tonight actually on SmackDown, right? Which is Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles.
Match, guys. If you guys didn't see it, it was incredible.
There's just something about Jericho and Styles that just clicks, man. It's a great rivalry between two guys that, who have been world renowned, who have wrestled all over the globe, and are right now.
It reminds me of like a modern day Ricky Steamboat versus Ric Flair match.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. Or Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero.
Yes, I mean these guys could be tag team wrestlers too. I don't know. I see
they
them
make a great tag team.
They make a great tag team. They are just incredible. Very technical. I mean, his agile. I mean, think about it. Chris Jericho's like 45 years old, and he moves like a 18-year-old guy starting up in the business. I mean, he moves like still got it, man. He is so agile for being in his 40s.
When fans chant, "You still got it," Jericho still definitely has it. I mean, he can still put on the 5-star match like if this was still 1999 or 2000 or
I know. I mean, 51 minutes when he was in the Royal Rumble.
It's pretty nuts, right? For a guy his age, probably
insane.
Probably the oldest man to be in a Rumble that long.
He did some matches, guys. He did these moves you haven't seen him do back in the late 90s, early millennium. He was doing a double underhook backbreaker to AJ Styles, the Tiger Driver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't seen him do those in a long time. But I don't think he's done one of those power bombs. Remember, he used to do a power bomb, and then he would actually overlap another power bomb and drop you again.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him do one of those in a while, but man, I loved it when he did the double underhook backbreaker. That was fantastic. What do you think, Javi, of that match?
Jericho versus Styles, out of the entire week, whether it been going through Raw or going through Lucha Underground or NXT, the one match I look forward to is on SmackDown. And I know the last couple of years, SmackDown hasn't been as hot as it one time was, going back to the brand extension era.
The B show.
Yeah, but there were times SmackDown was the A show.
Yeah.
I was just glad that SmackDown got some good publicity, and the reason for that was because of the rematch that took place earlier tonight with Styles and Jericho. Definitely tore the roof off. I can't wait for Part 3, which could happen at Fastlane. And if it does, hey, I'm glad that Styles and Jericho are getting a chance to show on an even bigger stage what they can do in front of a pay-per-view or WWE Network audience for only $9.99. What they can do. I mean, it's just, for lack of a better term, phenomenal. Do you understand what I am saying right now?
Again! Ever! Again!
Oh gosh! All right, moving forward. Moving forward. Mike's gonna puke his guts out over here.
Oh.
Okay. No, I'm just kidding, guys. You know I love you, and I love the impressions and whatever you want to call it. But anyway, moving forward, we have Bray Wyatt versus Ryback, and I don't really know why this match happened, where it's going, but Bray Wyatt gets the win, hitting the Sister Abigail on Ryback, and of course,
that was a good match. By
really,
the way.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
I didn't watch it. I actually left during Raw.
he did this Sister Abigail out of nowhere. This is what happened. He's about to throw in the meat hook clothesline. As soon as he runs in, boom, out of nowhere, catches him with the Sister Abigail. And no cheating. I don't think there was some cheating, right?
Not that I can recall, but then again, I really wasn't. I mean, that match just for whatever reason didn't really impress me. To be honest with you,
I thought that was an incredible match. I mean, it could have gone either way.
Yeah, but at the end, though, when the post-match beating to Ryback, I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where they're going with this when it comes to the Wyatt family beating down all the Titans, but to me, it's just, I don't know. That match just, for whatever reason, had
made no sense.
There's no point. I like Bray Wyatt's pants. They are awesome. If you think about it, I like the way he has like the flock of birds.
Yeah.
I want to get a pair of pants like that. I hope they sell them on the WWE Shop Zone.
I mean, they got the Kevin Owens shorts from what I've seen on WWEshop.com, and I'm like, well, hey, if it's marketable, they'll have it on their website.
Man, what's next match? Titus O'Neil versus
Adam Rose. Actually,
that was a very big time throwaway match.
Yeah,
and you know what? I don't blame
the Radical Mongoose. Hold on, I just have to throw that out.
Radical Mongoose.
Adam Rose, the Radical Mongoose. That's his self-proclaimed name now. The fans gave it to him. Yeah. So anyway, go ahead.
He's like, Heathy baby. He calls him Heathy baby.
And when he,
I love the Outcast promo though, man.
I do like the Outcasts. They are so funny. I like the,
the Red Dragon, Heath Slater.
I think they're a lot better than 3MB. I think this one's better than 3MB.
I think anything was better than 3MB. That just was terrible.
It was a 3-year gimmick that didn't work out.
Yeah.
Is that how long it lasted?
I think it lasted about 2-3 years. Yeah,
a good 2 years before
Ginger Mahal's like, man, I should have been the social outcast.
Yeah. Too late now.
Before Mahal and
Drew McIntyre.
were
McIntyre's in
featured
TNA
together.
now, right?
Yeah, as Drew Galloway, who wrestled Kurt Angle this past Tuesday night, which is part of Angle's farewell tour. And
did he win?
Galloway won. I haven't had a chance to see the full match, but I read about it online. And
put him over, didn't he?
I mean, Galloway, I always thought he was a great talent. It surprised me with the WWE.
He was the chosen one, man, from Mr. McMahon. I remember when he debuted, man, and it's just tough to see guys like that go, guys that probably had a lot of huge potential, but they just fizzled out early on really quick. So,
what are your thoughts on another guy that they let go, EC3, Ethan Carter III, who was in NXT?
They already did?
No, WWE had let him go.
Oh,
he was part of NXT years ago as Derek Bateman.
A long time ago. Yeah.
Before NXT really blew
been a while.
up.
He was going on with some girl too. There was some girl that was in NXT also. They were dating in the storyline.
I think it was I want to say it was Maxine, who's now Katrina in Lucha Underground.
Oh man, she's beautiful.
Wow, the lick of death she'll give you.
The lick of death. Okay, guys. So going back, I mean, it was a throwaway match. Tony says, but I actually didn't mind the match actually, and I was kind of surprised that Adam Rose pulled off the victory, because considering the fact that Titus O'Neil had been kind of on a winning streak as of late. You know what I mean? But
I think this is what's going on. In my personal opinion, I think this guy is great. I don't know why they're giving him a hard time. He's a great humanitarian. This man deserves competition. The man moves.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. This guy used to play for the NFL. Am I right?
Yeah.
The guy, okay, he's been a tag team champion?
With Darren Young as part of the primetime
It's time for him to get some championship gold. It's either
on his own this time.
IC championship or a U.S. championship. He needs something. He needs better competition. Social Outcast, I thought that was a joke. Him wrestling those guys.
Well, now we got to wait 2 months for that, Tony, actually, because we're not going to be able to see Titus O'Neil since he is now suspended due to camaraderie after the whole Daniel Bryan thing with Vince McMahon.
Yeah, it was 90 days. Now they dropped it down to 60 days. I mean, you call this man, this is a man that was Father of the Year. Mm-hmm. Great man. This guy took a bunch of homeless people, took them out to eat. I thought that was very nice.
I feel like he's starting to become one of the faces of like anything that's positive that has to do with the WWE.
Yeah,
like,
now they're gonna suspend him that's ridiculous.
It was just a joke. I mean, if it was a higher ranked WWE superstar, I'm sure Vince wouldn't have thought about it. But because Titus O'Neil isn't quite yet at that main event level,
I mean, he's a mid-carder, but still, I mean, why do that? Why? Okay, I'm just gonna say this: why suspend a black man during Black History Month? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's pretty bad.
I went there. Okay, I'm sorry, but it's really bad to do something like, especially when you see when you watch the footage, he's just kind of playing around with Vince McMahon, like kind of like fight playing, but he just kind of gives him a little friendly nudge, and Vince pushes him back, right?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, you don't see the reaction in Vince's face, but it's just like, wow, like for them to go do something like this, after a celebration such as Daniel Bryan's, it's kind of just a slap in the face to me, first of all, because I'm a huge Titus O'Neil fan. I love watching him in the ring, man. But if you're listening, Vince, I don't like it, man. So you better unsuspend Titus O'Neil, or I'm going to unsubscribe to the WWE Network because it's too expensive and it's starting to take a toll on my wallet. All right.
At least you're getting the pay-per-views for $9.99 instead of going through your local cable company and paying almost $60 for it.
All right, Mr. WrestlePedia, I get it. All right.
But hey, I mean, back in the days, I mean, if you remember when TNA was doing the pay-per-views for almost, if I'm not mistaken, for $9.99 every week on pay-per-view for their weekly shows, I remember thinking as a kid, well, maybe not as a kid, but as 19, 20 years old, hey, that's not bad, $10 a pay-per-view for that show. My dad would be like, son, you do know that's with $10 a week that you're spending on those events, that's the equivalent of buying one WWE pay-per-view. And at that time, I was just like, you know what? Never thought about that until right now.
When they were $29.99. Did you remember when? You know what my favorite pay-per-view was?
Days.
Yeah.
When WCW had this pay-per-view, it was only on Saturday. It was called Snickers Sold Out. I was so mad. I always asked, why can't the wrestling world put wrestling pay-per-views on a Saturday and then Sunday. Because Sunday, you got, pay-per-views, you want to go and you want to have a nice brewski.
Yeah.
And, a nice cold beer, some barbecue. On Monday, you have to go to work the next day or go to school. Why don't they ever put wrestling pay-per-views on a Saturday?
The UFC does it.
The
Boxing
UFC does it. Why don't they do it for wrestling fans? It's not fair. And then, I remember that Saturday night, Snickers sold out. I used to we didn't have the money to pay $30 for pay-per-view. My dad was really, frugal with his money.
Yeah.
But you can put on like channel 99 or channel 7, see a little bit of bajiggity on the television. You can see what's going on and
the color, the glitz and
the
glamour.
glitz and everything, glamour. And you can be like, okay, I'm gonna use my imagination. Okay, it's DDP versus the Giant. It was back in the day, I think, and he does like a diamond cutter. You can picture him doing the diamond cutter off the top rope.
I remember those days as a kid until they took that channel out when they instituted more channels on Time Warner, like the E channel, CW, what later became CW, the WB network. But I thought, well, it's at least now I'm gonna have to order the pay-per-views if I want to see them.
Oh, we're gonna go to Mike.
All right, guys, we just need to call these beautiful letters for this station here. Go ahead, Chris.
KCYP-LP 97.7 FM, Mission McAllen.
Hi, and welcome back to ARMBAR. Yes. 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 Yes.
All right, Tony's just messing around, guys, having fun during the break.
Guys, sorry, we're just joking around. Come on, guys, have a sense of humor for crying out loud. Anyway, my wife is listening anyway. She probably thinks I'm nuts. Oh, she already knows I'm nuts. Anyway, okay, so we're going back to the match. It's going to be Tamina versus...
it was Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch, yeah.
That was this past Monday night on Raw, if I'm not mistaken.
This is what really drives me insane.
Grinds your gears.
Grinds my gears. Thank you.
That's what really gripes me, okay?
She has been in the WWE for, ballpark 5 to 6 years?
Yeah. 5.5 years now, this coming May.
She has not been a champion. She had a title shot one time versus Natalya, and she lost. That was the only time. When is she going to be a Divas champion? She's a veteran already in this business. Snuka never was a WWE champion.
Never held any championship in WWE. Only
the ECW championship and the United States championship.
Yeah, in the National Wrestling Alliance.
Yes, that's what gets me upset, because are they biased against her because of her father's past?
It just all depends on creative at times. I mean, it's just they'll bring in talent that could do well elsewhere. But when they come to WWE, it's really all dependent on what Vince's vision is going to be. I mean, there's some guys that have come up from NXT that did red hot. Neville being a great example. He was the NXT champion, the longest in NXT history, and yet the best idea is to put him in a celebrity tag team match at SummerSlam with a guy that's not a wrestler for his tag team partner.
He did pretty good.
Hey, he did pretty good.
Yeah,
yeah.
good.
Arrow.
But Neville could be doing better. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What's the man that Gravity forgot?
Okay, that match was, okay.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't that bad,
It was not
but
bad.
eventually that, Sasha Banks is going to work with Becky again. They're going to be tag team partners. But, man, I don't see Tamina and, what's her name?
Naomi
Naomi
yeah.
as tag team.
She's more of a bodyguard.
She's not a bodyguard. I don't like it. What would be a better tag team? Or not better, a better group would be Tamina and Nia Jax together.
Yep.
Those two
And their family, too.
decimate
the female tag division.
The female tag division. I would like to see a Divas Revolution. Get Nia Jax over here. Who cares? Work up on her. I mean, yes, she's got the size, she's got the tenacity, and she is beautiful. And you get those two, they're powerhouses.
Yeah.
They can take anybody out.
Both part of the Samoan wrestling
She could probably be fighting the guys if she had to.
Exactly. I mean, she could probably body slam most of the lighter weight wrestlers, like perhaps Neville or the Lucha
Or
Dragons.
Jamie Noble.
Jamie Noble, boy!
Forget about your pecan waffle.
She could definitely take out someone like Kalisto though from the Lucha Dragons.
Okay, so she gets a win from Becky Lynch. Okay, she just walked into the kick. If you know what it is. She's just asking, just please kick me. You know.
But Tamina knows how to throw a super kick party.
She knows how to super kick, and I love her splash. That's incredible. The Samoan drop, the splash.
Yeah.
She's paying homage to her father, and you don't see that often. But okay, Becky Lynch was just asking, okay, I'm gonna run and just go kick me in the face. Just give me flat my back.
Me in the face.
Yeah, just give me in the face. Might as well she should just do a storyline and be in the League of Nations and be Sheamus's lover or something. I don't know.
I could see that. I mean, Rusev's got Lana.
Oi! I don't know.
By the way, Lana is beautiful.
Oh my goodness, I love her hair, her blonde long hair.
She needs to have it done more often.
The Rock needs to come and
I started liking Lana more when she was paired with Dolph Ziggler, especially when she let her hair down, would dress more rocker 80s chick, and I thought she looks gorgeous.
Oh man.
And then she had to go back to Rusev because she pretty much told TMZ, hey, she's married to Rusev.
Yeah, they just royally sabotaged the storyline.
Yeah.
McMahon was very upset with that.
But then again, that was part of Ziggler's dead-end storylines that he pretty much got put into in 2015.
Man, I wish The Rock was there again. Man,
you all right.
You all right, WrestlePedia. Business, you all right. We need to see some numbers.
Madness, you all right.
Oh, gosh. The business. I like that, by the way.
Oh, man. But, yeah, she won a clean victory. Well, I don't know if that was a clean victory, but
I mean, it kind of was, but then again,
Tamina needs to win matches, man. I can't stand seeing her lose. She's a powerful human being. Whether she's a heel or face, she needs to win some matches.
And hopefully she does more in the future. I mean, I hope before Tamina, hangs up the boots, she gets one Divas title reign. I mean, Natalia's got one in her record. Why not Tamina eventually?
Exactly. What's the next match, Business?
Next match will be the main event, which will be the Dudleys versus the New Day. But this turns into a 4-man tag or something like that? 8-man tag. Yeah, 8-man tag. Excuse me. And you got the Dudleys with
the Usos.
The Usos, yes.
And I say Oos. You say
right. But anywho, and then they're fighting against the New Day, and then the New Day has to end up finding another partner because there's only 3 of them, obviously.
And Mark Henry.
And the trombone can be a tag partner, obviously, over here.
No, because last time the trombone got involved in anything, Xavier Woods cried like a little girl.
It was a surprise to me, though, seeing Mark Henry jump into the mix a little because I was like, okay, we've seen Mark Henry get a little goofy at times in the past, with his sexual chocolate gimmick and everything like that.
I missed that theme song.
And
I love that song. Man.
Oh yeah, and vice versa. I mean, who was with
him and
Nation?
D'Lo Brown, and they were trying to date. He was trying to date China.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh, yeah.
China got set him up with that one
Fabulous
woman
Moolah or May.
The guy?
May Young.
I think it was May Young.
May Young. That was funny.
That's super nasty. Yeah.
Oh god.
But anyway, going back there, we see Henry puts on the unicorn thing on his head and he starts dancing. I think the New Day actually asks him to try out before they actually pick him as their tag team partner, which was kind of sad. I mean, I was just like, okay, whatever. What am I watching here, right? So then, he starts to get in the groove, as I like to call it. And, the match starts, of course. And then I don't know what happens. Henry, he gets angry at one of the guys for whatever reason during the match. And he just ends up walking away.
Yeah, but he's like, don't tell me what to do. Or he's like telling them that. He's like telling the New Day, hey, don't tell me what to do. It's my house.
Yes.
He's like, I'm gonna go get me a barbecue sandwich or something like that.
Henry's on his farewell tour, by the way.
I know. I think he's about to retire.
I think probably after WrestleMania, right?
But hopefully. He doesn't like getting told what to do. That's about Henry. He's the Hall of Pain. I mean, the man does not like getting orders thrown at him.
Yeah.
This guy, he's got seniority out of those youngsters. This man has been wrestling since '96.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna tell? You can't tell a 400-pound gorilla, a 400-pound gorilla, to do this and do that. No, he's gonna rule you, man. I mean, this guy is
like Jimmy King.
I will rule you. But
I was probably one of the few that loved Ready to Rumble.
I've seen that movie like 40, 50 times.
It's a classic with David Arquette, right?
Oh, yeah.
I just loved, pretty much the whole roster came on the show.
Give my beer, you morons.
Give my beer, you morons.
How about this? Give my beer, you morons.
Still the best wrestling movie of all time, in my opinion,
Oh,
guys.
man.
So, not to discredit
It was 2000.
You know, the wrestler.
Yeah, 2000.
2000. You guys need to see it. If you ever watch Ready to Rumble, in the background, John Cena's in it.
Yeah.
He's lifting weights. He's barely getting into the independent zone.
He was
Wow,
then
that's
known
pretty
as
nuts.
The prototype.
The
He
prototype.
got signed to Ohio
And he
Valley
was doing
Wrestling.
OVW, right?
Yeah.
I think.
The original developmental league before NXT.
Yeah.
And it still exists, right? I mean, it's
But
still
yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
OVW is still a territory. Just it's
So-
not the developmental territory anymore.
So the match, so Henry leaves during the match, right? And he's like, "Don't tell me what to do. It's my house." So he leaves, and all of a sudden, they're down to 3.
Yeah.
And of course, who gets put through the table?
all of them.
All of them.
Destruction.
3D.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And so yes, the Usos and the Dudleys win. But what happens after the friendly win, Mike? The business.
Well, I mean, the Dudleys pretty much turn on the Usos also, right? And of course, they go back and put everyone else through the tables as well. I mean, and it was interesting to see because I kind of like the Dudleys as a heel tag team. I've always liked them as a heel tag team, actually. But for them to finally be like, you know what? And they actually aired out their dirty laundry on SmackDown, right? I think I saw a little clip on it
yeah.
before I came out here. But
No more tables.
But they were actually calling out the whole Daniel Bryan thing, also saying like, oh, all you guys care about is the Daniel Bryan thing, blah 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 blah. Like, you know, we're here to be the best tag team. You guys forget that and all this. And I was like, well, you know,
their
they're
voices
making
need to be heard.
they're
man.
making a statement, which is, you know, something that I appreciate. I mean, you can't. I mean, a lot of wrestlers have done it in the past, but does it work though? Is the question. I mean,
Well, they want to be heard. They want to be 10-time tag team champions,
Yeah.
and hey, they're Hall of Famers. They're future Hall of Famers.
I finally
man.
heard Devon talk on the mic. I was like, whoa, this guy can still talk on the mic. Like, that's nuts.
Oh, my brother, testify!
So we'll see where that goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Dudleys are pretty much the last of a dying breed when it comes to tag team wrestling, and you
They're
know
legends.
what? Let them. You know, if this was going to be the only way we were going to see the Usos against the Dudleys by having the Dudleys turn heel, I'd say go for it because
Do
the
it.
Dudleys made their living out of starting riots in the original ECW, and really, you know, ticking off some people in WWE.
and beating
also
everybody
heels
up.
too, right? They were heels in the beginning, also.
Yeah,
right?
that's how they started out. I mean, I remember watching Heatwave '98 or '99 rather, when Bubba Ray Dudley said some pretty derogatory remarks about this one bald guy in a Hawaiian shirt that I cannot repeat on the air. But man, let's just say that, you know, security was always at risk every time the Dudleys showed up in an ECW themed show. Kind of miss
Yeah.
that sometimes in wrestling in general, man.
But you know what? These guys paid their dues for a long time, and you know
Yeah.
what? I like to see that the Dudley Boys versus a triple threat tag team: the Dudley Boys versus the Usos versus the New Day for the tag team championship. They need to do that more often. I mean, this will bring some ratings to the map here. You know.
I'd say that'd be a great match, but to me, I mean, we've seen the Dudleys and the New Day several times, especially in the fall of last year. Dudleys and the Usos, haven't seen that yet. I'd love to see that.
Maybe it could be a number one contendership for the tag team titles. That could be another one.
That could be. I mean, it's something interesting, something new, you know. And one thing I was excited about when the Dudleys came back to WWE last year was, you know, the thought of wrestling new tag teams like the Usos or the Lucha Dragons, you know, or even also the New Day. I mean, I was hoping also the Hardys would later come back to WWE as well, but they decided to stay with TNA, which I was like, oh, okay, thanks.
I know, they get us hyped up, and after this, it's like every year we think Sting is going to be, you know, getting a contract with WWE, and then another contract with TNA.
Yeah.
Now he's with WWE. It took him.
And it'll be part of the 2016 Hall of Fame this year,
man, I'm
which
excited.
very well deserved for the Stinger. Ow! As he used to do that war cry back in the 90s.
Man. Sting is one of my favorites. You know, I was actually reading a documentary on Sting with Ric Flair. And Ric Flair said, you know what? And back in 1990, he says, you know, him and Sting are best friends, Ric Flair and
Yeah.
Sting. And he says, you know what, Sting, you know, Steve Borden, a.k.a., I wanted to drop the title to you.
Yeah.
And that a lot of people wanted him to drop the title to Lex Luger.
But Flair said
But
no.
Flair said, no, I want to drop this thing. That's one man that really deserves
Yeah.
was Sting.
I mean, case in point, their match at the Clash of the Champions, which was 1988, head up against WrestleMania 4. You know, the most memorable match that came out of that particular date in 1988 was Flair versus Sting. I mean, that night a star was born, and one that's going to be taking his rightful spot in the Hall of Fame.
That actually beat WWE ratings. Actually,
Yeah.
that match that actually beat box office tickets and sales.
Yeah.
and I think that was at the.
it
Was
was
it in the Cajun Dome? Was it?
no, that Clash of the Champions with Flair and Sting, that was the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina, which was the home of the first Starrcade.
Yeah.
While WrestleMania 4 was in Atlantic City. But I think the reason most people tune into the Clash because WrestleMania 4 was on pay-per-view, Clash of the Champions is on TBS, and there was a lot more wrestling fans that were still not ready to embrace the WWE, embrace Hulkamania. To them, it was all about the NWA and the Four Horsemen at that point.
All right. Well, Mike.
All right, guys, let's move on to our final segment. And let's talk about Daniel Bryan. We got about 10 minutes left, so we'll start the countdown here. And let's talk about Daniel Bryan's retirement. I want to start off with his accolades just in the WWE. Okay, this guy was a professional wrestler for 16 years, but I want to go into what he did as far as championships go in World Wrestling Entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, according to this, and I'm on his Wikipedia page, because I can't remember everything, guys.
I remember a lot.
Of course,
It's all
Daniel
good,
Bryan
man.
was a one-time World Heavyweight Champion, WWE Intercontinental Champion, WWE Tag Team Champion. Of course, he's been WWE Champion
US
and
champion
WWE
as well.
World Champion.
Yeah. Money in the
United
Bank
States
winner.
Championship one time also. He was the WWE World Heavyweight Champion 3 times when it was on SmackDown, of course. He was the Money in the Bank winner 2011, SmackDown 2011. 26th Triple Crown Champion. I don't know what that means. 15th Grand Slam Champion. He won 12 Slammy Awards, apparently. I don't know if this is
The man's got
accurate or not.
credentials.
Yeah. He got skills.
Oh my gosh, Shocker of the Year from 2010, the debut of the Nexus, he came out with a lot of those
yes.
guys that are big stars now. So
was back when
minus
Bret
Heath
Hart
Slater.
was-
Yeah.
Hey,
Stars and
baby.
Heath Slater.
He got Facial Hair of the Year in 2012. He got Upset of the Year by defeating Mark Henry and The Big Show at the Royal Rumble. He got Couple of the Year with Brie Bella, I guess, and he had that thing going on with AJ Lee for a while. That was just a party gimmick. He got Beard of the Year for 2013, Superstar of the Year for 2013, Fan Participation of the Year in 2013, and of course, there's just so many more accolades that I can go into. His indie series, World Series Wrestling, West Side Extreme Wrestling, Texas Wrestling Alliance. He was in the Rolling Stone magazine, apparently. Most Painful Injury of the Year 2015.
Yeah.
Apparently, Ring of Honor. He was the ROH Pure Champion one time.
The last one, too.
And the ROH World Champion one time. Pro Wrestling Noah, which is a Junior Heavyweight Champion he was.
Over in
And,
Japan.
oh man, yeah. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, he got Feud of the Year. Match of the Year 2013. He was in Pro Wrestling, I can't even say this, Gorilla, yeah. Gorilla. PWG World Champion 2 times. New Japan Pro Wrestling, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champion, and of course the list just goes on, guys. This guy basically did it, and he was the ultimate underdog, okay?
Yeah.
You know what? It's so weird because this neck injury, I feel like Kane kind of like dropped him on his head a little too much on that neck injury. Do you think that really did it? That tombstone?
I don't think that. I think
Not
that-
necessarily, but
yeah.
I bought Daniel Bryan's DVD, Just Say Yes, 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 which is available on WWEshop.com. And what triggered Bryan's neck injury was a match he had in the summer of 2013 against Randy Orton. This is before what happened at SummerSlam later that year, where Bryan did a suicide dive, and when he collided into Orton, he accidentally collided into the barricade wall, and that's where the match had to be stopped. They thought maybe he suffered a stinger, and from there is where Bryan started having his neck troubles.
So it wasn't the tombstone.
No, the tombstone was just. I mean,
Yeah.
well, Kane's careful with the tombstone. It's not like he dropped. It's not like what happened with Stone Cold at SummerSlam in '97.
Oh yeah, I mean, I thought how Undertaker made Mick Foley famous. I
Yes.
thought he was gonna make Daniel Bryan famous, but going back to this young man,
couple years older than us, you.
he's only like 4 years. He's a couple years older than you.
Yeah.
This man is very genuine. He donated his hair to the children that have cancer. I mean, this guy, he's a beautiful guy inside and out.
Yeah.
And Brie, man, she must be lucky to be married to this guy. He's a sweet guy, and his storylines. I mean, I love the Team Hell No storyline. I thought Kane and him were hilarious. The restaurant scenes. The restaurant scenes,
Dr. Shelby.
Dr. Shelby. Dr. Shelby was one of my favorites. The graduation.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Those were my favorite storylines. Or, I am not the weakest link.
I'm the world's toughest vegan.
Oh, gosh.
But that's one of my favorite storylines. And my favorite match, to be honest with you, it was Daniel Bryan versus Batista versus Randy Orton.
WrestleMania 30.
WrestleMania 30. And that was a terrific ending. He brought this child. He made it in the Warrior Hall of Fame.
Connor the Crusher.
Connor the Crusher. And that was so sweet that he brought Connor over to the ring. And, took it, this is before he took his final breath, Connor.
Yeah.
And this guy is sweet. And you know what? He wants to make it big for his family. Brie wants children with him, and I think he'd be a wonderful dad. Who knows? He might come back to WWE maybe to manage his children.
Never know. I mean, it's terrible that we'll never be able to do the yes chant with Daniel Bryan ever again. I mean, there's so many matches I wanted to see Bryan involved in. One being against Kurt Angle, but as long as they're in different companies.
AJ Styles also would have been
Styles.
great.
They actually wrestled
Dream
each
match.
other, though.
In Ring of Honor and
Ring
on
of
the
Honor.
Independents. Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe, Daniel Bryan and Hideo Itami, just Daniel Bryan and Kevin
Finn
Owens.
Balor.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
That would have been a great match.
But just at the same time, you got to think of his health, and the last thing we wanted was for Bryan to one day wrestle and never be able to leave the ring on his own accord again. And he's got a lot of good things going with him. He's got Brie Bella, his wife, who one of the most beautiful women out there. And I'm sure one day we're going to see, probably in the news, hey, they're expecting their first child. But Bryan was a great talent and also, a great human being, and still is a great human being on the outside. I got to see him live twice at State Farm Arena when he wrestled Cody Stardust Rhodes in 2011. Matter of fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, my friend Freddie G was there for that show.
Together.
Yeah,
I think I saw Cody Rhodes and Daniel Bryan carpool with
Yeah.
each other in July of 2012. Remember?
Yeah, when Bryan wrestled CM Punk for the WWE title.
Yes, it was a street fight.
Yeah, I remember I yelled out at Punk, and I'll clean it up because we're PG. I yelled out at Punk, kick, beat him up, Punk. And then Punk yells out at me, he's got a stick in his hand, because Bryan had the kendo stick, the Singapore cane in his hand.
And you could so
hilarious.
tell that CM Punk and Daniel Bryan were just playing.
They had a good chemistry.
They had a good chemistry, and they were they're just best friends.
They were the two top dogs in
They're
the company.
two
at
top
the
dogs
time,
of the company. It was like Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, and Seth Rollins.
And Seth
Yeah,
Rollins.
it's too bad though. Punk versus Bryan was never the main event of a pay-per-view. It was always
They had one main event on Raw, though. I remember that. It was champion versus champion when Daniel Bryan was world champion and CM Punk was in his 434-day reign as WWE champion. And they had one good match
they had
together.
Yeah, and they had plenty of great ones too on pay-per-view. But
Man, it should have been a WrestleMania match.
I thought it should have been for WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, WWE thought, hey, we're gonna put Randy Orton versus Batista, the main event of WrestleMania 30. And that would have been such a great main event.
That's what we want to see, Vince. We want to see a bunch of old guys come back.
Come on, do the Shawn Michaels WrestlePedia.
uh,
Do the Vince McMahon Shawn Michaels chant.
the Vince McMahon, Shawn Michaels chant. I'm trying to think of that. Are you talking about how Triple H maybe impersonated Vince?
No, yeah.
There you go.
That's what we're looking for.
I was just like,
Heartbreak Kid.
we're gonna sell out the Superdome with Orton versus Batista. I'm like, yeah, this was 2006, Vince. That would have maybe sold out, but the fans wanted Punk versus Bryan. At least I wanted that, but we sort of got it halfway with Bryan in there.
I know there's so many speculations with all this, and then now let's get a little bit of a dirt sheet real quick before we end the show. Hulk Hogan possibly returning to WrestleMania 32. Apparently, he's going to get paid 1/10 of the salary. So McMahon's thinking about. I think they're going to be forgiving him for all this.
the heat that he got.
The heat that he received. And then Titus O'Neil suspended. We already mentioned that earlier.
He's gonna miss WrestleMania.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Seth Rollins might stop by.
Yeah, but he's got a long way to go from his.
So they haven't mentioned any Hall of Famers but Sting. Maybe Daniel Bryan might get inducted to the Hall of
I feel
Fame.
like Mark Henry's gonna get
or
inducted.
Mark
also.
Henry.
I
Hall
hope
of
so.
Fame. Hall of Fame. I don't know.
They both deserve it, and I mean they're both first ballot Hall of Famers. We're knocking everything down here in the station,
Golly.
guys.
I'm giving
Computers will follow.
the Dusty Elbow drop.
Live in public if you will, baby.
Boy, that sounds like Dusty Rhodes, right?
Well, hey, Dusty Rhodes was one of the main reasons I became a wrestling fan, some 30 some odd years ago. But yeah, just, I would say if I had to pick another candidate for this year's Hall of Fame, we're in Texas this year for WrestleMania, why not the Fabulous Freebirds?
Have they been?
I have
Yeah,
no
man.
clue.
I mean,
He's
the
the
Von Erichs,
WrestlePedia, not
But
me.
didn't I see Michael P.S. Hayes?
Not yet. Michael
He's
Hayes
not in the Hall of Fame,
is not in
no,
the
he's
Hall of
not.
Fame yet, but should be for
He's
this
still an
year.
official.
The
though.
man's gonna be a daddy again.
Thanks to who again?
What's her name? She's from Costa Rica. Give me a hint.
Rosa Mendez.
Rosa Mendez.
There you go. All right,
Man,
Tony.
lucky
Let's
dog.
get to Tony's terminology before we close it out today.
All right, guys. Terminology. We mentioned earlier A show and B show. A show is usually everybody likes is the Raw show. B, SmackDown. Back in the day, I used to love Monday Night Nitro. That was the A show.
And Raw was the B show, right?
Probably B show. Well,
For quite a
Thunder.
long time
Remember
was.
WCW Thunder? That was like
Yeah.
the SmackDown of WCW.
Yeah.
And then they also had a C show. That was WCW Saturday Night.
The weekend shows.
Well, back then, WWE, when it was early millennium, they had this show called Velocity.
Velocity
Yeah.
and Heat. My
And
favorite
that was
two
a C
shows.
show.
Yeah.
Sunday Night
I
Heat to
enjoy
me.
those.
Sunday Night Heat to me was like my favorite.
Yeah.
They had a couple good matches.
Yeah, like Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy feuding on Sunday Night
yeah.
Heat stuff.
I
People
remember
like
when
that.
The Rock was there, and it was so funny. They had a pie eating contest or
Oh
something.
gosh.
I remember that one episode where Jerry the King Lawler was a guest on Sunday Night Heat, where he was feuding with Taz at the time, and Taz was told, "Hey, you cannot strike the King," And at the end of the show, King's like, "Hey, Taz, they said you couldn't strike me, but they never said anything about me striking you," and he just wobbled.
I love the
Taz.
Raven match. I liked Raven when he was wrestling in Sunday Night Heat, the hardcore matches, and then William Regal when he was the Intercontinental champion, no, the European champion.
Yeah.
I liked him. Like it was on MTV. Also, it was from USA Network to MTV, and he's like, I can't believe I'm in music television."
I'm on music television.
and I'm gonna be defending my European championship. I do a terrible Regal
No, it was good.
impersonation.
It was
but,
good, man.
I loved it when it was I loved Raven. I loved this even flow DDT, the Raven effect. I love the hardcore matches. They would embrace the hardcore matches on the C show, which is Sunday Night Heat. But yeah, these are they call these shows A show, B show, C shows. That's like when you go to a football game, there's the A team, the B team.
Yeah.
But yeah, wrestling has their ranks. I want to do a special shout out to my wife, Liza Yannette. I love you. I can't wait to spend a little pre-Valentine's Day with you tomorrow. We're going to go out to eat. We're going to have some fun. And I want to do a special shout out to Isaac. What do you think, guys?
Isaac the Architect Ruiz. If you're
Yes.
listening in, man, bro, we missed you this week, and I was kind of lazy to drive and pick you up also, so that's my bad, bro.
I hope Isaac doesn't
That's gonna be some
do the
Thursday night heat.
do the DDT right there,
Oh
man.
gosh, he's gonna give me the curb stomp, man. I'm
Uh-oh.
afraid of it. But let's close it out, guys. Any final shout outs before we go, Mr. WrestlePedia, Jay the WrestlePedia?
Yeah, just a couple shout outs. One to perhaps the biggest John Cena fan I know. She goes by Janessa. Jerry, if you're listening, hope everything's well, and John Cena will be back soon. And also to my friend Jeremy, keep the wrestling alive, man. If there's one person that loves wrestling, not sports entertainment, but wrestling, it'd be my friend Jeremy. And my buddy Fred, hey, great talking to you as always when we get the chance. And there's my shout out to you, buddy.
I also want to tell you guys next week around 9:05, 9:10 p.m. WrestlePedia is gonna be here. Yes, he is the wrestling encyclopedia. That's why we call him Jay the WrestlePedia. Now Jay is gonna be there around 9:10 before we get here. Mike, Isaac, and myself. He's going to be talking about independent circuit. He's going to talk about, he's also going to talk about, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Lucha Underground, possibly some TNA wrestling. Guys, I know we always talk about WWE, and I know some fans say, man, when are they going to talk about wrestling outside of WWE? Well, this is our man, WrestlePedia. He's going to come by. He's going to talk about maybe 15, 20 minutes about it, do some recaps. And if you guys want, go to ARMBAR, man. Go to Facebook. Like us on Facebook.
Yeah. Give
guys,
ARMBAR some love.
Give us some love. Give me some suggestions to improve this show. Get it bigger. Get it better. We're going to be even this Friday night. Jay and I are going to be at El Cine del Rey. We're going to watch
NWA
Wrestling Revolution. It's going to be Smokin' Jay Williams versus Richard Reason. Yes, guys, I'm giving you a shout out. Richard Reason versus Smokin' Jay Williams. And how you doing, guys?
Can't wait to see your match. And speaking of Wrestling Revolution, I got one more shout out to my friend Bandana Joe, who had one heck of a match with the Grand Warrior champion and one half of the Ring of Honor Tag Team champions, Raymond Rowe. Bandana Joe, if you're listening, man, great match. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep the dream alive.
All right, we're gonna Mike, business. What do you have to say to yourself?
Just shout outs to my HEB peeps as always. Mom and Dad, I love you guys. If you're listening out there, and all the wrestling fans that continue to support our show. Thank you. Of course, you can follow us on Facebook, like Tony said, at www.facebook.com/UTPA ARMBAR. And of course, if you haven't liked the station's page yet, go ahead and look them up online also via KCYP 97.7 FM, guys. This wraps up this week's special edition of ARMBAR minus Isaac, of course, right?
How does he say it?
I can't even say it.
Hard work pays off. Good times last.
Something.
But bad guys don't, or whatever the heck he says. Or you know what? We can just say, hey, yo. Survey says.
We're just too
sweet. Thank you guys for listening to ARMBAR, baby. Woo!
KCYP LP 97.7 FM, Mission McAllen. McAllen. McAllen.